I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to fill one of these. Now I know the first tip might seem a little bit easy and something that you should be doing, right? As an artist, you should be drawing every single day, but that doesn't always come naturally to most people. You have to develop that kind of habit to where you naturally feel as though you need to draw every day. When you sit down, you start drawing. When you're waiting for your turn on Xbox or PlayStation, back in the day when we could do those things and you could play with other people next to each other and you had to wait for your turn, you could be drawing. Like, you feel this need to draw, and that generally comes from the fact that you have developed a habit of drawing every single day. And with that habit, you will be able to fill these sketchbooks that seem daunting when you pick it up and it says that you have 100 pages or 200 pages to draw, and you're like, man, I really want to get through this sketchbook. But the thing is that, you're looking at a lot of blank pages. You don't want to do that. You're like, nope, that's not at all what I want to do. And so if you are in a habit of drawing every single day, and it doesn't matter what you draw, as long as you are drawing every single day, and so as long as you are in that habit, then your sketchbook is going to get pretty filled pretty quickly, because every time that you sit down or you're bored or something, you're going to grab your sketchbook and you're going to draw. And that's what's important. The sketchbook is a great tool to A, get you warmed up, B, teach you something, you can start studying something, or C, just to have a lot of fun with, right? But you have to get started. You have to put that line down. You have to go, you know what, I'm going to draw. And if you actually build that habit, it takes 21 days to build a habit. So if you can draw consistently for 21 days, you will then go, I need to draw again. I need to draw tomorrow. I need to draw the day after. I need to draw. And so the more that you draw, the easier it is going to be to fill your sketchbook. I mean, that's just obvious, but it's going to start with you drawing every single day. All right, let's go into tip number 2. Tip number 2 is something that I actually started doing myself recently, very, very recently, and it is timed drawings. Okay, so if you are like me, you are extremely slow at drawing, and as I mentioned before, sketchbook is a great way to get practice in. And for me, it was to try and get faster. And the only way that I actually know how to get faster is if there is A, someone yelling at you to get faster, or B, you have a timer that is going, hey, by the way, you've only got 2 minutes left. Hey, by the way, you've only got so much time left. And it is something that will force you to draw faster. Now, a lot of people will be like, all right, well, I'll take an hour and a half. That's great. That's not the timed drawing that I'm actually talking about. It should be something 10 minutes or less, especially if you're going to start doing something like life drawing, and you can do gestures, because remember, we're trying to fill this sketchbook. So if you're actually trying to fill it, you want to put as much down as possible. And if you're doing life drawing and you're doing 1 minute or 30-second gesture drawings, you don't have to draw them really big. You can draw little ones, because the time's going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? And so you want to actually utilize the sketchbook and fill up the page. But if you do something like 10 minutes, you can do more of a substantial drawing, but it's only 10 minutes. And depending on what you do, you might even get to ink, you might even get to markers or pencils. I don't know, it depends on how fast you get. But with a timed drawing, it really does fill a sketchbook, because it's only 10 minutes. So let's just say you give yourself an hour. Like, for a fact, I'm gonna draw for an hour in my sketchbook to get warmed up, or whatever the case may be, and you have 10 minutes. That's 6 drawings. So that's 6 pages that you could knock out in 1 hour. And that's pretty quick when you think about it. And then if you start doing gesture drawings and you're doing 30 seconds or 1 minute, you can start filling pages so fast that you'll be surprised. As a person who generally does not finish sketchbooks, these time drawings have really, really helped me out. It allows me to push forward. It allows me to try new things, and I actually get to learn stuff as well. So it's like, oh, well, let me try this so I can get faster, or let me try that. And you start getting into this rhythm to where if you draw a guy or a bear or something consistently for a couple times, you will remember certain shapes. You will remember, oh, well, if I do this real quick, it'll give me this outline, and you will learn how to become faster. And that's one of the biggest goals of a sketchbook, is to teach you how to do something. And I guarantee you that if you do timed drawings, it will absolutely help you, and it'll fill your sketchbook way faster than looking at a blank page and going, man, I need to come up with something very, very substantial and fill this page, and it has to look awesome. So give timed drawings a chance, and no more than 10 minutes. If you really want to fill your sketchbook, do 1 minute. Do 1 minute drawings, and the way that you can get 1 minute drawings in and really quickly is with tip number 3. That's right. Tip number 3 is draw with a pen. Now, you can draw with a really cheap, like Bic pen, or you can get an artist pen, or you can get whatever kind of pen that you actually want. A brush pen, you know, the chisel pen, whatever it is you want, but you should draw with ink. Okay? And the reason why you should draw with ink is because it's very permanent, right? And so you don't really have that much of an opportunity to go back and erase. Yes, you could use whiteout or the gel pens or the white erase pens. Yes, you could do that. But remember, you're trying to fill the sketchbook. You're trying to see where your mistakes are so that you can learn and grow. And so the pen really allows you to do that. And if you're coupling that with tip number 2, then you don't have a lot of time to go back and fix things. So you're just going to be like, oh, I got to get this down, bam, 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 bam. And you're going to be drawing as fast as possible, and you will be able to train your brain to actually just put stuff down and to become more confident in your own lines and your own decision making, because it kind of has to count. Otherwise, you're just going to have a big mess, big scribbled mess, and you don't want that, except for when you're starting. So when you're starting and you're like, man, I haven't drawn with pen without an underdrawing, I can't do this. You're going to have a lot of scribbles, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Remember, you're trying to get better, and the sketchbook is the best way to do that, because you can make a lot of mistakes. You can make mistakes and move on and not feel as though you've done something wrong or that you need to go back and fix it. You can actually just come in and enjoy the process, and with the ink pen, it is the best way, because you are just going to start scribbling and you're going to try and find your line. And as you move forward and you keep trying to fill your sketchbook with this pen, it is going to make you more and more confident with your lines, and you'll just be able to knock out faces and hands and animals and whatever it is that you're drawing. But it's going to come with you trying. And let me tell you, out of experience, if you start and you haven't done it, it's gonna look pretty bad. Plain and simple, it's gonna look pretty bad. But the thing is that you have to remember that it is for a purpose in the end. And you are going to try and become better, and your inking is gonna get better, and you're gonna get faster. And that's what's important. That's what the sketchbook is really for, is to try and make you better, or put down a whole bunch of ideas. But if you can put down a whole bunch of ideas fast, then the creation process becomes better and you fill your sketchbook. So these are processes that can make you faster. And what we're trying to do here is fill the sketchbook. Like, that's our goal with the sketchbook, is to fill it, right? So if you are trying to fill it, if you do timed drawings, you draw every day, and you do it with ink, I guarantee you, you will fill the sketchbook. Not to mention, you'll be making mistakes to where you're going to flip the page and be like, all right, I got to do better. And so then you can go back and look, and yes, while you might skip a page and you're like, I didn't draw half on this page, or I only drew 3/4 on that page, that's fine, right? As long as you keep drawing. That's very important. You got to keep drawing, you got to keep trying, and the practice is going to help. And the pen is going to be one of the most telling and rewarding utensils that you can put in that sketchbook, because it is so finite. Once it's down, it is down, and you have to then make a decision on how to fix it, how to make it better, and that's going to be a great resource for you, not only to make you a better artist, but also to fill that sketchbook. All right, let's see. What is tip number 4? Tip number 4 is a fun one. It is themed drawings. Themed drawings are very, very popular nowadays with all these artist prompts. Every month has something else, and if you struggle with looking at a sketchbook and seeing absolutely nothing except for a blank page, having these themed projects is actually something that is helpful, and you should try it. You might stink at it. I know I did. When I started with Inktober. I do not necessarily like to ink. That's why I use the pen to get myself better with inking, so that when I have to do it, it doesn't look like I don't like it. But I was like, oh, well, you know, everyone's doing this Inktober thing, so let's try it. And I got, I don't know, 4 or 5 in and was like, I don't like this. But because I started, I was like, you know what, but I can do something else. Now I can draw this, now I can do that. And I think that's what's really important with these artist prompts and these themed challenges and stuff like that. It's really to just get you started. It's to give you an idea to do something when you had no idea on what to do. And that, I think, is very important. There's all kinds of prompts that tickles everyone's fancy. You can find everything under the sun. And if you are the person who needs like sketches first, and you do sketch, and then you try and do a little something more detailed and finished, you can fill a couple pages on one prompt. But the thing is that there's no reason whatsoever for you to actually go, I don't know what's going on. I'm looking at the sketchbook. I'm uninspired. I have no idea. You can go online and Google artist prompts. That's all you need to do. Google artist prompts, and it will pop up, and you'll get Inktober, Drawtober, Scaroween, Mermay, Ninjaugust. I mean, the list keeps going on, and it goes from character designs to environment designs to creature designs to slice of life, telecomic in a month. There's so much out there that for someone, especially when I'm talking to students and they're like, I didn't know what to do, I was so uninspired. I'm like, but look, there's all these things you could do in no matter what it is that you want. So if you wanted to do something for horror, guess what? There's horror prompts, and you can draw all these horror characters and stuff like that. If you're like, I need to work on environments, there's a whole thing for environments. There's so much inspiration out there, and not to mention, it's out there so that you can fill your sketchbook. You can also go off and do finished work and stuff like that, but if you're just going, I just really need something to get me started, and I want to work in my sketchbook, these are the best things. You can do great work with this, and then you have 30 or 31 prompts that you can fill your sketchbook with. And so that's 30 pages already done, and you just need to go out there and do it. I highly recommend you go and look at some of these artist prompts, because you'd be surprised what you might find and what inspiration is out there, so that you will actually start to get drawn. All right, we're at the last one. Tip number 5 is very, very important. It is a soapbox that I am on all the time with students and professional artists when they say something like, oh, this is just a sketch. And it's not a sketch, it's a finished drawing. And they're like, well, I only took so much time on it because I generally take 12 hours to do a piece. This one only took me 2. But you're like, that's a finished piece. It's inked, it's colored, it's got all these things. Like, this is finished, okay? You gotta remember, it's a sketchbook. It is a place for you to learn. It is a place for you to mess up. It is a place for you to grow. And if you treat it as anything but a sketchbook, it will not get filled. You will not fill it because you're trying to make everything look absolutely perfect. No, that is not what your sketchbook is for, especially if you're trying to fill it. If you're trying to fill it, you're supposed to go in there and make mistakes. You're supposed to go in there and be like, I hate drawing hands, so let me draw some hands. Ooh, that one's horrible. Ooh, that one's gross too. Oh, this one's actually not bad. That's what a sketchbook is for. It is for sketching. It is for the idea of ideas, trying to create ideas, right? And throwing away most of them. It is for studying other people and you go, okay, well, let me see how they drew this face, and failing at it and then getting better. It is for practice where you're like, well, I still need to draw people, and so let me go ahead and draw people. It is a sketchbook. It is a tool for you to actually mess up and not be judged by the fact that when you drew your character, that this hand is the right hand, and then this hand was also the right hand. And you go, ooh, wow, I messed that up. Oh, well, we're gonna keep moving, right? And you learn from it. And then if you are trying to make a finished drawing or whatnot, you can take that sketch, draw it over, and then go, okay, let me make sure that was a left hand instead of a right one. But if you are doing nothing but finished work in your sketchbook, it is no longer a sketchbook, it's an art book, okay? To where you could actually just cut the pages out, scan them up, rebind them, and then you'd have an art book. Those are different. Do not punish yourself when it comes to your sketchbook. It's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be lighthearted, it's supposed to be fast and easy, and you should have fun with it. And you cannot do that if you treat it as anything but a sketchbook. So remember, it's a sketchbook. All right, those are my 5 tips on how to fill your sketchbook. I hope that you learned something or got some type of information out of this video. If you did, please give it a like, share it, and if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. I put out videos every single week with new content, so definitely hit that subscribe button and make sure that you click the notification bell so that you know exactly when I post new material. Also, if for some reason you would like to give me a topic to cover, I would love to hear it and I'd love to put it on my list. So just drop me a comment and tell me what you'd like me to give you 5 tips on. All right, thank you so very much, and I will see you at the next video.